Did you know that Norway controls territory closer to the North Pole than most countries will ever reach? That it sits on one of the largest oil reserves ever discovered in Europe, yet its people are among the least materialistic on Earth? And that a single Norwegian government fund quietly owns a small piece of almost every major company in the world? Norway is not just a land of fjords and northern lights, it is one of the most strategically powerful and quietly influential nations on the planet. Get ready! Because in this video, you will discover 25 facts about Norway that will completely change how you see it. Number 25. Norway is one of the longest countries in the world from north to south. If you placed it on top of the continental United States, it would stretch from Florida all the way to Minnesota. Despite this enormous length, the entire country holds fewer people than the city of Los Angeles. That combination of vast land and tiny population gives Norway one of the lowest population densities in Europe. Number 24. Norway shares borders with 3 countries: Sweden to the east, Finland to the northeast, and Russia to the far north. That northeastern corner where Norway meets Russia is one of the only places where a NATO country and Russia share a direct land border. This short stretch of about 120 miles carries enormous strategic weight in modern geopolitics. It makes Norway a frontline state in the current tension between NATO and Moscow. Number 23. Norway has one of the longest coastlines in the world. When you include every fjord, island, and inlet, the Norwegian coastline stretches for over 63,000 miles. That is more than twice the circumference of the entire Earth. This extraordinary coastline has shaped Norwegian culture, economy, and military strategy for thousands of years. Number 22. Norway controls the Svalbard archipelago, a group of islands sitting deep inside the Arctic Ocean. Svalbard lies about 400 miles north of mainland Norway and is closer to the North Pole than to Oslo. Under a 1920 international treaty, over 40 countries have the right to operate there, but Norway holds full sovereignty. This makes Svalbard one of the most geopolitically unusual territories on Earth. Number 21. Norway is not a member of the European Union. Norwegian voters have rejected EU membership in referendums twice, in 1972 and again in 1994. Despite this, Norway follows most EU rules and contributes billions to the EU budget through a separate arrangement called the European Economic Area. Norway gets access to the European single market without ever sitting at the table where the rules are made. Number 20. The Norwegian krone is one of the few currencies in the world backed by genuine sovereign wealth rather than just government promise. Norway's oil revenues are deposited into a national fund rather than spent directly. This gives the country a financial cushion that most nations cannot even imagine. It is one of the reasons Norway has maintained economic stability even during global downturns. Number 19. Norway has one of the highest rates of electric vehicle adoption anywhere on Earth. More than 80% of all new cars sold in Norway in recent years have been fully electric. The government achieved this through a combination of tax breaks, free parking, and access to bus lanes, rather than through mandates. A country that made its fortune selling oil is now leading the world away from burning it. Number 18. The Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, officially called the Government Pension Fund Global, is the largest of its kind in the world. It holds over $1.7 trillion in assets and owns shares in more than 9,000 companies across 70 countries. On average, the fund owns around 1.5% of every publicly listed company in the world. When major corporations make decisions, Norwegian capital is almost always sitting at the table. Number 17. Norway discovered oil in the North Sea in 1969, and the find transformed the country entirely. Before that moment, Norway was a relatively modest fishing and shipping economy. Within 2 generations, it became one of the wealthiest nations per capita on Earth. Few countries in modern history have undergone such a rapid and complete economic transformation. Number 16. Norway is home to some of the deepest fjords on the planet. The Sognefjord reaches a depth of over 4,000 feet, making it deeper than most of the surrounding ocean floor. These fjords were carved by glaciers over millions of years and now serve as natural highways into the interior of the country. They also make Norway extraordinarily difficult to invade by sea. Number 15. Norway has one of the most advanced submarine fleets in the world relative to its size. The Norwegian Navy operates in waters that are considered among the most strategically sensitive in the entire NATO alliance. Russian submarine activity in the North Atlantic and Arctic is monitored closely from Norwegian waters and territory. Norway's geographic position makes it one of NATO's most critical early warning nations. Number 14. The Norwegian city of Tromsø sits well above the Arctic Circle and experiences polar night, a period during which the sun does not rise at all for about 2 months each winter. During summer, the opposite occurs, and the sun does not set for roughly the same period. This extreme light cycle affects everything from sleep patterns to school schedules to the rhythm of daily life. It is a reality that most people in temperate climates find almost impossible to imagine. Number 13. Norway produces nearly all of its domestic electricity from hydropower. Around 90% of the country's power generation comes from water, making it one of the most renewable-powered nations in the world. This is not a recent development, but a century-long investment in rivers, dams, and mountain geography. Norway's landscape essentially functions as a giant natural battery. And now, we are only halfway through the list. Some of the most surprising facts are still coming. Number 12. Norway is one of the founding members of NATO, having joined the alliance in 1949, just 4 years after the end of World War II. Its decision to join was driven directly by its experience of German occupation during the war. Norway's northern position means it guards the sea routes between the North Atlantic and the Arctic Ocean. Without Norway, NATO's northern flank would be dramatically exposed. Number 11. The Nobel Peace Prize is awarded in Oslo, Norway, while all other Nobel Prizes are handed out in Stockholm, Sweden. This split goes back to Alfred Nobel's original will, written before Norway and Sweden separated into 2 countries in 1905. The Norwegian Nobel Committee operates completely independently and has awarded the prize to figures ranging from Nelson Mandela to the European Union itself. The choice of recipients has occasionally created serious diplomatic tension with major world powers. Number 10. Norway operates one of the world's largest merchant shipping fleets. Norwegian shipping companies control a significant share of global maritime trade, including oil tankers, container ships, and offshore vessels. This fleet operates globally but is registered, managed, and owned through Norwegian firms. A country of 5 million people quietly moves a substantial portion of the world's cargo across every ocean. Number 9. The Lofoten Islands in northern Norway sit entirely above the Arctic Circle, yet experience remarkably mild winters for their latitude. This is because the Gulf Stream, a warm ocean current originating in the Gulf of Mexico, passes directly along the Norwegian coast. Without the Gulf Stream, large parts of Norway would be frozen year-round and essentially uninhabitable. Norway is, in a very real sense, made livable by a river of warm water flowing from American shores. Number 8. Norway controls Jan Mayen, a remote volcanic island in the Arctic Ocean between Greenland and northern Norway. The island has no permanent civilian population, but hosts a Norwegian military and meteorological station. Jan Mayen gives Norway an exclusive economic zone, covering a vast stretch of Arctic and North Atlantic waters. Control of that ocean space carries significant value for fishing rights and potential future resource extraction. Number 7. Norway has one of the lowest imprisonment rates in the developed world, and one of the lowest reoffending rates. Its prison system is built around rehabilitation rather than punishment, and many Norwegian facilities resemble college campuses more than traditional jails. The approach has been studied by criminal justice reformers across the United States, the UK, and beyond. Norway treats incarceration as a problem to be solved rather than a penalty to be endured. Number 6. Norway is one of the world's top exporters of salmon. Norwegian fish farms produce more than 1 million tons of Atlantic salmon annually, supplying supermarkets and restaurants across Europe, Asia, and North America. The salmon farming industry was essentially invented in Norway in the 1970s and is now a global model. A significant portion of the salmon eaten anywhere in the world began its life in a Norwegian fjord. Number 5. Norway's Sovereign Wealth Fund has an explicit ethical mandate. It is legally prohibited from investing in companies that produce cluster munitions, tobacco, or certain categories of weapons. It is also divested from coal companies and firms found to be causing serious environmental damage. This means that the largest investment fund on Earth is also one of the most actively values-driven financial institutions in the world. Number 4. Norway played a decisive but largely unknown role in Middle East peace negotiations during the 1990s. Secret back-channel talks hosted by a Norwegian research institute led directly to the 1993 Oslo Accords, a landmark agreement between Israel and the Palestinian Liberation Organization. The talks were conducted in Norwegian country houses, away from international media. A small Nordic country of 5 million people helped broker one of the most consequential diplomatic agreements of the 20th century. Number 3. Norway's continental shelf extends far beyond its visible coastline, giving it sovereign rights over vast areas of the North Sea and Norwegian sea floor. These rights cover not just existing oil and gas fields, but potential future resources, including rare minerals on the deep seabed. As Arctic ice retreats, new areas of Norway's extended shelf are becoming accessible for the first time. Norway's true geographic footprint is far larger than its land borders suggest. Number 2. Norway has more electric vehicles per capita than any other country in the world. This is particularly striking because Norway is simultaneously one of the world's largest exporters of fossil fuels. The country essentially pumps oil for the rest of the world, while refusing to burn it at home. Critics call this a contradiction. Supporters call it a very effective business strategy. Number 1. Norway's government pension fund Global does not exist to make Norwegians wealthy today. By law, only the financial returns from the fund can be spent, and even those are capped at a strict percentage. The fund is designed to preserve oil wealth for Norwegians who have not yet been born. Norway took a resource that runs out and turned it into something that is meant to last forever. And that is perhaps the most quietly extraordinary thing any country has done with sudden wealth in modern history. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this, the next one is already waiting for you. Like this video if you learned something new, and subscribe so you never miss another one from beyond geo borders.